Welcome back to the Witch's Way podcast. This is Kat.
And Jamie. And tonight's podcast is about the art of letting go. It's moving on from past hurts and kind of how we release the past and embrace a present. And we're going to do that with an open heart. That's like I know it's really corny to say, embrace the future with an open heart. But you got to have your heart open in order to experience new stuff.
That's true. And even though you mentioned the heart, the types of hurt we're talking about could be many. It could be pain of the heart. It could be pain of our egos. Different types of situations might cause us. For me, this topic brings up intimate relationships.
Sure.
I think for you, it brings up something different.
Yeah, it's my PTSD from work, from jobs, from friendships.
Yeah.
There is a part in here where I definitely wrote about my son's father, where like the grieving of that. So I think that it's relevant for, I guess 3 areas of life really, right? So you've got the work and the relationships there because it's all about connectedness, and then you've got your romantic relationships, and then you have your family shit always.
Yeah. So depending, but all of these things that we're going to talk about really apply to those areas, although you may think of something different than so the areas we're going to cover, I think really quick, because I feel like this is going to be a long podcast and we're going to have a lot to talk about. This is the area that I feel very sensitive to at the moment. I'm not sure why. Probably because it's the Scorpio season, and that's my vibe right there.
There we are.
But the first thing we're going to talk about is creating habits, or some habits that we create after we've been through a really hurtful situation.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the cost of those habits, what the creation of those habits and then living those habits costs us, and why it's so important that we let go. And then we'll actually talk about the things that we can do to let go, because that's the last part of it. So without further ado,
I think that, a good question that I thought of to start off this whole thing of like, the art of letting go. Well, how do you even know if you need to let go of something? Like, that was my first question to myself, is how would somebody listening know if they had shit they needed to let go of? And so with that, I think that it opens up a lot of cans of worms, or whatever cans of whatever that you have going on. I was trying to think of isn't there more things people say?
Pandora's box.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get the idea is like you ask the question and you got to deal with what comes out.
Like, how do we know?
That?
How do we know we're holding on to these past hurts?
So did you come up for a way for yourself? Did you come up for something?
I think that it's looking at our habits, which is basically our first topic, is if you do some of these things, you have past hurts that you're holding on to. This is how you'll know. We're diagnosing you right now. Therapy is in session. Is everybody ready? Everybody got their notebooks? If you can connect with these next few things that we're going to say, that means that you probably have shit that you need to work through and let go of. We're going to go through this at the end of the podcast, of course, but why do we want to let go of stuff? I always want to hit home on the positive, because if we are stuck reliving our same old stories, we cannot bring in that new, beautiful magic, recontrol our lives to, reclaim our powerful selves that we are. Like, it just keeps us stuck in that. You'll hear
stuck
that
in
too.
that place. So
So here are some habits that we actually create after hurtful situations, and I think that most of us can relate to all of these at one time or another, whether it's stated habit or it lasted like a month or two. But some of the shit that we do, number one, after something happens, I think the first thing that I do, I call my mom, I call my sister, I tell everybody important to me the shit that just happened.
You got to get it out, right?
Yeah, well, you got to replay the story, and you'll be like, you will not believe. You need almost the validation for somebody else to hear what you went through. So that is something that we do as an initial reaction. We replay those stories. And the more that you bring them up over time, so say it just happened a month ago and you know about it, but then in 1 year, I'm still bringing up the same old shit every time we get together for, a beer or coffee.
That's definitely somebody that's stuck.
Yeah, because you're just not moving on from the thing, or you haven't found a way to move on from it, so you're retelling the same story. So who has a friend that every time you get around them, they're complaining about the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is,
I've known people like that. Yeah.
And it could be that it's not a hurt thing, but it's just something they have not moved on from. That's why they
Absolutely.
have to, it's always there at like the top of what they need to talk about first. They need to get it off their chest.
I feel like they're consumed by it, because
they can be.
If you're feeling the need to always talk about something, then it's occupying a lot of space in your mind and in your heart and in your life.
Yeah, you're revisiting those situations, the conversations, the look, how you found something out. It's all the little details. And by doing that, I didn't put this in there, but I always got to go back to psychology. Every time you remember those things, you're carving a deeper connection in your brain that's making that a core memory for you that is harder to let go and forget. Just saying. So I know that for things that I would probably repeat in my head, not out loud to people, but when I do something embarrassing, I will sometimes replay it and go, God, why didn't I do that differently? Why didn't I say something differently? How did I mess that up so bad? And this is younger me. I don't have that now. Now I really laugh at myself, which is a beautiful tool,
evolution.
Gift. I don't know. Yeah, evolution. I love that. And the next one would be like imagining alternative outcomes. So when things happen to us, we picture it going differently, even like you wish it would have turned out a way. That's where I get into grieving about, the things that are lost. I actually grieve the life that I didn't get in some of my scenarios that I used to, that I went to therapy for, basically. And then the flashbacks, reliving the old pain that are triggered by small reminders. And of course, I don't know why, I thought of Taylor Swift's song when she says, I keep finding your things in drawers. And, that makes me realize this, I didn't imagine it all. I don't know how the actual line goes, but when I have to go, I have boxes that I had to move for the hurricane, and they've been sitting in Jolene's room that she's been living in because she's in transition too now after the hurricane. And those fucking boxes represent so much that I'm going to have to deal with. And I have to move them around, and I don't want to deal with them. They're like, it's boxed up old shit, emotions, past relationships, stuff from my Navy career.
Really?
Like, it's so much.
You still have that stuff?
Of course I do. It's my legacy.
Oh, wow.
I know, and I have to deal with it somehow. Yeah. So, like, it's not necessarily old pains.
Is that triggering, though? Would that be triggering for you?
It's going to trigger a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So,
you're carrying around stuff.
Yeah, it's physical items that remind you.
That humans put a lot of emphasis on.
We do. We become attached to the stuff. They hold the memory for us, right? It's like you see a picture. Sometimes your mind replays the memory of that day. There's a picture of you and your dad or mom eating ice cream together, but then in your mind, when you see the picture, you go through the whole 20-minute ordeal where you were there. Yeah. So it brings those things to life. Yeah. And I'm not sure I really want that. I like where I'm at right now in my life, but I also cannot bring myself to throw it away. So what do you do? I'm in the in between.
So we're basically reliving it, and we're just reliving that pain with those when we do things like that.
When we have those triggers,
or when we have those triggers.
Yep. Yeah.
So some other thing that we do is hold grudges. Hold on to grudges and hold on to resentment. So in some way we feel like we were wronged, and maybe we were wronged, Sometimes
happens.
That's not an irrational way to feel because of depending on what happened in the situation, people can be fucked up. So, but those feelings of anger and bitterness towards people or different situations, and especially if they occurred a long time ago, they're not serving us anymore. It's the same as what we were just talking about above, where you have these triggers and then you stay or revisit that moment and feel that pain. With grudges, I feel like doing those types of things, depending on what your frame of mind is, you can really go to the place of, I want to get revenge.
Ooh, revenge.
I want the payback because I was hurt so much from that situation that somebody needs to pay for that. And I was telling Jamie and Jolene earlier today that I follow a lot of witch groups on Facebook, and honestly, the focus in the last 6 weeks to 2 months or something, every single post is about somebody wanting a spell so that they can get back at someone who did them wrong, some bad thing that happened. They want to shut somebody up, or they want to make somebody feel that pain that they feel. So it's like if they could do that, then they could relieve their own pain. But it really doesn't. Even if you do go to the lengths And as witches, we can do that. There's lots of spells out there.
Lots of ways to do that.
And you can put your energy into that, but what are you left with after? Once you do that, yeah, you put that out there, but then has it solved or healed what's going on inside of you?
No, it doesn't. And so what I think of with this is when you have crimes that have happened with people, and then they have a court case, and then the person who did the crime is found guilty, and then they get a sentence, and then they get out. Does the person that the crime happened to, do they feel better from it? Nope. Did that person get what they, air quotes, deserve? Maybe, maybe not. I think that in our own heads, when we're wronged, you can't undo it, and that's what you're actually searching for, is that clean slate to say, now I feel better. You know, how much of somebody else's life force or energy do you need to take or alter before you feel better about yourself from the situation? And if we're trying to use somebody else's energy to fill our cup of energy, you're never going to get that, because it's never going to feel satisfying. What I've learned from witches who practice in the past, this is all of our younger years, you know, witches who did revenge spells, and they, you know, sought to actually hurt the people that hurt them. In 10 years, when they've grown, they have regrets about that. You know, they say, I was so unevolved, you know. Yeah. I was so trying to please my ego and write something that could never actually be righted. Once the damage is done, it's done.
Yeah.
What I guess that's why I'm always trying to say, like, focus on yourself and not the other person, because you're never going to find what you need in that other person. You're going to find it in yourself. Only you can feed and fill your own cup. That other person paying for shit can't do that.
And you know that, I mean, that's the part of, I think that's, you go into the topic of, like, why is it so important that we start to let go of these things?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, the fact that you've had people or witches come back to you later and in retrospect say, gosh, you know, I was really unevolved at that place in my life.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that a lot of the posts that I'm seeing, they are younger women. I can sort of tell by just the way that either the way they talk or maybe the way they describe their situation.
Sure.
You know, we've been together for 6 years and we got a couple little kids. That tells me you're
in the younger stages.
in the younger years, you know, of life where shitty stuff happens, but shitty stuff happens all the time.
Remember that things are not being done to you, they're being done for you. When we shift our perspective like that, like, the things that happen to you are not your fault, but they didn't happen to you to bring you down. They happened to either push you or grow you or help you realize that later down the road, you're going to be a mentor to somebody else because you've been through it and you've healed yourself and you've done something about it, right? I think that for me, my PTSD, what my counseling people are asking me now, they're like, well, you've been working on this for 10 years. Would you mind being part of a group where younger veteran women who have dealt with sexual harassment or PTSD or anything, could you be there for them? And 6 years ago, I was like, absolutely not. That's too triggering. I couldn't do it. I would cry. I'd be so mad. Like it wouldn't be healing for me. It'd be really hurtful. But now where I'm at, it's been 10 years. Now I think that I could go in there and then provide them with something that actually felt good and not just let them, we're angry and we got to get shit out. And I think that talking through it, I think talk therapy is so fucking helpful, whether it's to your mom, best friend, best guy friend, your husband, your wife, whoever you have to talk to, like getting it out feels so good. And that's why if you don't have a person, journaling is so good, right?
Yeah,
like journaling
absolutely.
It all out, fucking get it out of your body, get that energy out of you. And then over time you start to see, you know what? That did something to me, but it did not take who I am away. Like, I still get to be me.
And, one of the dangers of not doing that, of not dealing with it, is that, we end up taking it into the next, relationship that we have.
Job,
and,
anything.
Any interactions with people, we haven't let go of it. And so we're, dragging that baggage along. That's what they talk about, baggage.
Oh,
that's
the baggage.
It right there.
Yeah. So the more that we allow ourselves to think about or relive the hurtful things that have happened to us, the stronger the hurt gets. Because the more that we feed that memory, the more that we believe it, feel it, live it every single day. We're basically bringing our past with us every day into our present situation.
Yeah.
Which that thing happened 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
It's not happening to you today, but you're making your body go through those same emotions of like it happened today.
Yeah.
You know, and from replaying and re-feeling those past situations, we're making it part of our personality. And who wants to take that shit with them? Like, who doesn't want to feel more light and love?
You want to carry your old boyfriend or your old boss around on your back for the rest of your life?
Like, if we could see it, right? If your baggage was visible, yeah, imagine
that's
that.
the monkey on your back, you know, is your ex or your
gosh.
girlfriend or your best friend that you're not best friends with anymore, you know. Just
all
imagine
the ways
that
you've been wronged.
Imagine that as a physical thing. That's a pretty potent visual.
Yeah,
I think so. Like that.
So I guess what I really wanted to get from, like, as we almost re-traumatize ourselves, right? That's a way to think about. If you're constantly thinking about the things that have happened to you that have been bad, that hurt, you're re-traumatizing yourself each time that you're going through all those memories. Each time you're reliving it, you're thinking about how much it hurt. You're thinking about the deception. You're thinking about how you were wronged. It's not fair. The other person's so horrible and bad. The more energy that we give that by thinking about it, this is where you actually create your emotional triggers. And an emotional trigger is when something happens that is very small, very small. Yeah. Like for me, I guess I don't have it, but I can talk about it now because it's not there. An emotional trigger for me might have been a short redheaded dude, right? Because that is the person who did the bad to me and betrayed everything and just took out my career and all this other shit. That could have been triggering for me. Or even a name. Ooh, a name. Do you remember when we were recording videos for the school and I was like, saying the word Grace was really hard for me because that was somebody that my son's father slept with while we were like together. So that name had a triggering effect for me. Yeah, you know, it almost like it brought everything to the forefront.
Sure.
So you've got things like that. These emotional triggers, what it really means is that something very small happens that is not significant and it causes an overabundance of a reaction, right? Like
disproportionate.
Disproportionate, yes. Yeah. What did I say? What was my made-up word?
Overabundance, but I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Like it's out of line with what, you know,
what's
something
really
so
there.
small.
Yeah.
Something so small, it just
what would
sets you
be
off.
yours? Like, I know one of yours, but I'm not going to say it.
You know one of mine? I was trying to think about
a name. I mean, where is there a name that you could say where you like literally felt
I feel
5 years ago disgust or pain or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's name from my past way a long time ago. When I say this person's name, it still evokes that feeling in me, or some kind of a feeling. Not, I've gotten past it, but still there's this deep down memory of my first.
It's never 100% gone, is it?
My second husband, I guess it was second husband.
Oh no. Shit.
Yeah.
That'd be my daddy.
No, he was my
second husband,
Chuck.
Oh shit! Oh my God! How did I just think that? That's so weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So because of that situation, even though I'm over it, but still it's deep down in there.
Is it that name?
It's that name.
Yeah. You know, I had a boss that name.
Chuck.
That was very difficult.
I fucking hate that name. I've never dated a guy that named Chuck ever.
So Kat's emotional trigger just came through. There's no reason to hate a name.
So Bob's another one that I could.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can't. I could no. Because I've had experience with two men with those names. It's like, never again. Sorry, all the Bobs and Chucks of the world.
Listen.
You know, you're out just by virtue of what your parents named you.
So that is where these things, when we don't heal them or let them go, where then we're thrown into situations where you're just completely turned off by a person who could be so great.
And you're like,
that's your name's
unfair.
Bob. Fuck
when
you,
I
Bob.
think about it, I'm like, that's really so unfair, you know?
Because
but I would have a reaction if I met a Bob.
We have a really good witch friend, and her husband's name is Bob.
Who?
Joellen.
Oh. Is it?
I'm pretty sure she told us about that.
Okay,
I think I'm like 80% sure now that you're not saying it.
Robert? Did she call him Robert? I don't know.
I thought it was Bob.
But she doesn't really talk about him that much. But oh my God! And I met him at the Christmas party. Sorry, Joe, if you're listening. I'm so sorry.
Listen,
I'm bad with names at my age, but. Anyway,
it's easy to see that a name could create some stuff, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you've ever been cheated on, if there's been a boss that's a complete dick to you, if there's been any kind of sexual harassment stuff.
Simon.
Creepy guys. Simon
was a boss that I had. Was so dumb. Oh, no. He was so stupid, and he was like in charge of all of us, and it was at the school district, and he was just a fucking idiot, you know? It was like hard to believe that he was even in a position of management.
Wow.
That's how, like, he was just dumb.
Yeah.
And he was hard to work for because he was just stupid.
So if you were to meet a Simon today, would you immediately think that Simon might be dumb?
I haven't thought about that in years. But since we're bringing up names, I'm like, what's the triggering name? But what's something else besides? I think of things that I've drug around from one relationship to the next.
Okay, what's yours?
Like, say, maybe a word or a name or something that a man might call me that will set me off. Like, bitch doesn't bother me because I am a bitch sometimes, and so. But there are
you own that one.
I own that. Okay. Yeah, it's like because sometimes I am. It's true, but there are other things that you know. That would trigger me to just kind of flip out, and that's probably because, well. Also, hey, that's an impact of society too, because like the C word. Oh yeah, like that's a terrible word for me. But that's not any experience, I guess. That's more like a society thing where you've been exposed to it.
That's how I know it's so bad, because I didn't know what it meant, and all the kids dared me to say it around you, and
sorry,
didn't know what it meant, and when I said it, your face was. This is how I can describe my mom's face. First, it lit up like a Christmas tree, like the surprise and the brightness of it, and everything just was like, oh. And I looked at her like, oh, what is this reaction? And then it was like the darkest night storm with lightning that you've ever seen in your life, and she came for me, and I just knew it was wrong, and I ran. And she chased me out of the house. And I was like, what? Like, I just didn't know.
I don't remember that.
No, so funny.
Yeah.
So I could run faster than you at that young age. And I didn't let you get close enough.
Did we live on 84th Place?
No, we lived in Edwardsville.
Oh, we lived on Beach? When we first got there. Yeah, when we first got there.
I was so
Peach
young.
Or whatever
I was 9 or something.
Yeah.
Well, that was
you were really young.
I was so young. I didn't know what it meant. And I ran far enough to stay away from you to where there was space where we could yell it towards each other and talk, but you couldn't get me because I was like, I don't know why you're mad, and I know you're going to hit me if you catch me. And you were just like, why would you say that? And I was like, because they dared me to. I don't know what is it, you know? Oh my God. The ways that your older siblings can get you in fucking trouble.
So when I think about this, I think about, when we're talking about words right now, but okay, here's another one.
Oh.
Drivers. Yeah, like people triggering you when you're driving.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, even though we're talking about it's not really, well, it is kind of a letting go, because you eventually have to get to the point where you're not being a road rage driver. And so you can use some of the things that we're going to talk about to lessen the effects of people annoying you on the road. So
it is, something you hold with you.
I hadn't even thought about that in the context of this.
I thought about as far as like possible trigger. So that stoplight that I was at, I don't know, 5 years ago now, I just let off my brake, and so the car naturally rolled like a little bit, and then I saw that the lady in front of me, she didn't actually pull off when the light turned green, so I hit my brakes, and my car, you know, it's like a bigger SUV, it's heavy enough to where when you hit your brakes hard, it shifts, it bounces, right? Mm-hmm. And it tapped her bumper. And she pulled over and fell out and had like a fucking, oh my God, you broke my back, my neck, my everything. You ruined my car. I was like, what the fuck? And it was a little red Mini Cooper. So now with little red Mini Coopers, I kind of have that thing where I'm like, oh God, stay away from those people. You know, it's the most ridiculous thing. But because that I've never had an accident before like that. I've never had anybody act so absolutely crazy. Like, I was actually scared of her. I turned on my recorder because
she was irrational.
She was so crazy. And the insurance company said, we've seen more damage done to a car with a basketball than what happened. Like, it didn't do anything. My car had 0 marks on it even.
Red Mini Coopers are no for you.
Red Mini Coopers, I'm like, ooh, Jamie, tighten up. Don't hit anything. Don't do anything. You know, like, not hit anything. Like, don't hit the brakes hard, or don't assume you know that they're going to take off. Red cars are supposed to be fucking fast. They're supposed to be zoomies, right? Like, let's get going. Let's get somewhere fast.
I might have let us off on a topic that.
Oh, sorry. I know.
I don't know.
It's triggers. It's things that trigger you.
We got down the road of triggers and all the things that can trigger you.
Oh my gosh.
We went off on a little tangent there, but back to. Okay, I do agree with my previous statement about letting go of some of that stuff if you can, like with drivers and stuff like that. But specifically,
that's like surface level stuff.
Specifically in interpersonal relationships, which aren't they all interpersonal relationships, whatever they are.
Every day.
Relationships. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. When we were going into the disproportionate emotional reaction, one of the things that I really remember that embarrassed me a lot about myself, but I couldn't control it because it was just me and Cameron, and he was only 4, I had chose to leave his dad because the situation just wasn't good. And I didn't just leave like I left the town. I left the state and went several states away. You got to. When you know that you're not strong enough to stay there and have this casual relationship with somebody when you've been involved.
That's why I left California.
And Kansas City.
I
mean, this is one of the things we do.
So I moved San Diego to Kansas City to get away from...
and then repeated it 20 years later.
And then 30 years later. I did the same thing. I left Kansas City for Florida because I just had to put distance between me and those people because of the pull and the reminders and all of the things were just way too strong.
Too much,
And it wasn't really safe for me to... when I say it wasn't safe... I was worried that I would be back in that I would go back, that I wouldn't be strong enough to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Especially with your dad. So your dad was, of course, the first one that was leaving California. I just knew that there was just no way I'd stay away, even though it was so
toxic,
so obvious that it was not healthy for any of us. So
that's what I had to do with Cameron's dad, and what embarrasses me, I guess, or what I felt embarrassed about when I was going through it, is that I grieved the relationship. Maybe not even the relationship, but the loss of what a future, right? So it's not even that I missed what we had. I didn't. That shit was fucked. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
What I was grieving was that there was no future, all these things I had put in my head that felt real to me that I would have, that my son would have a father who would be there, that I wouldn't be a single mom, all that shit. And I would listen to some of the saddest songs I knew, and I would just let myself cry and cry and cry. And just, I'm talking like an hour in the car crying, just why? And I remember this one specific time where I knew I had to change because I moved there when Cameron was 4 and we were there a year, so he turned 5. We had gone to the grocery store, something really fucking normal, and this is where it's disproportionate. And a sad song came on. And of course it's by Taylor Swift because that's my whole life. But when this song came on, driving back from the grocery store, I was crying driving, and Cameron could see me. We pulled into our parking spot at our house. I still sat there. I listened to the rest of the song, like, why torture myself? Yeah. And then I continued to cry and just cry and heaving crying, and the song is fucking over, and I let it replay. And then, so I'm so absorbed in what I've got going on and what I'm feeling that I look over at one point, and my son is just... he's flabbergasted. He doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, why is my mom so upset? How is she crying like this? And he doesn't even know how to console me. He's 5. And I realized what I was going to do to him if I lived like that. I realized that if I let him see me in these really breakdown, grieving moments of like, what the fuck? How do you even process that? So number one, I started to grieve in smaller doses on my own. And I started looking at ways to get better. But when I was going through all of this, my witchcraft, my practice was gone. I couldn't even focus on getting better. It was like I was grieving the next, if he was 5, I was grieving the next 13 years that I knew my son was going to grow up without a father. So that was like a lot. That was very heavy for me. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about with disproportionate reactions. There are these emotional triggers that we have when we relive stuff.
Yeah, well, mine's like, for me, that feels like this unbearable weight that I couldn't get free of for a long time. I got free of it eventually, but the weight of it felt just like so heavy. And even though it was past, so I'm living in the past, right, with all these emotions about it and carrying this weight. It's like a freaking ball and chain that I drug around for the next 6 years or 5 years. It took me 5 years, I guess, to get over your dad, probably even longer. And then the same, it took me that amount of time. When you're with somebody for a really long time, it takes longer to get over them.
I think so.
So it took 5 years, both of those relationships, really, for me to get to the other side of letting go of that weight, being able to finally be free of it, completely free of it.
So I think that what we bring into that now, when we're both talking about old relationships that we were trying to get over and get past, is that some of the things that we'll end up doing if you're not healed before you get into a new relationship is that you bring that into your new relationships.
Absolutely.
And you expose them to some of the traumas that you've had, and there's a difference between exposing them in a way that you talk through the things that you've been through and you're like, hey, this is how I've been hurt, so these things are, I'm very sensitive to this. Like if you had words, if there were, I don't know.
Well, I think that some of the things that we bring, if we're bringing this stuff into a new relationship, we're really kind of suffering with maybe your self-worth, or your value. I mean, at least for me anyway, not feeling good enough. So if you don't feel good enough, how you can't really be your whole self for that new relationship.
Self, yeah.
You can't give that new person in your life all that they deserve of you, which is all of you, because there's this part of you that's like stuck in this past.
Yeah.
In this past place.
What I think about it is not giving them all of you, but I think about it as you're not all of you, so they can't even see all of you. Yeah,
I think that's what I was trying to say.
You're a half of who you are because there's this other part of you that's really stuck, and you haven't reformed the rest of your personality because you haven't dealt with it yet. It's like
so definitely healing before. I mean, I think that's what we're saying is like before you move on,
the recognition and the starting to deal with it before you go into new jobs, new relationships, dealing with family stuff. Taking that time out. I think is really important. So we move on to this other part, which is sort of the cost of holding on and why letting go is so essential for the healing. Because what we really want to do is, all right, let's acknowledge all the ways that we have this stuck energy of the past hurts, right? All the things we're reliving, the triggers that we have. So now, what is the cost of holding on to them? Because you might be thinking like, I don't need to really work through this. Like, yeah, it's a thing, but fuck it. Like, it's not really bothering me. Because sometimes we tell ourselves that, like, it's not that bad. It's not really bothering me that bad.
Well, sometimes when it does bother us, it comes up intermittently, especially as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's not there as much like every day in the beginning. Maybe it's really, really, it's daily, but then 6 months goes by and it's not as bad as it was, but you're still thinking about it and you're still spending time in it.
Mine, I learned, was seasonal. So I have a specific area of the year that was really difficult when I found out about all the stuff that happened on the ship where I was being recorded and all of that. Mm-hmm. So seasonally, I didn't know that I was getting sad around that same time frame, which just happens to coincide with the same time that I met Cameron's father. It's the same time frame that I started to fall for Tony. So there's this area of the year that seems to be really where things need to change, or there's a turnover, or there's a recognition, and it's always in fucking August and September. So then, also my father passed in September. Yeah. So that's just something that I recognize, and I don't do anything about it, or I don't really hold it with any sort of like, oh, what's going to be this year? No, I don't do that. But I know that if I'm having a hard time and I'm needing to escape a lot during the August-September timeframe, I know why. And just knowing why is enough for me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get off work early and go into the garden, or I'm going to get off work early and go to the beach. So I'm just going to give myself more time. Yeah, that's how I practice. Yep. Yeah. Once you recognize the pattern or the things that are going on with you, that's when you can, the letting go, it's always there. You can't get past what happened to you, or not get past it, but you can't erase what happened to you. But you can find ways of the healing part of it. That's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. I wrote in this little note because this came up for one of the situations I was thinking about, that I think one of the worst things that happened for me that came out of painful past situations was about how I blamed myself for it, especially with my PTSD and choosing the wrong person and, getting involved in a job that went nowhere, and I was stuck and, trying to think that it's not anybody else's fault but my own. Mm-hmm. I said that a lot to myself when I was going through my hurts and when I was healing myself, is that I felt like I was to blame. So I had guilt around that. I had, how do you forgive yourself? Because that's part of the healing part, is learning to forgive yourself for things that didn't go the way you wanted them to. And,
when you're dealing with something like that, it can be really hard to accept like praise or kindness from other people because you're feeling like really down.
You're feeling worthless,
you're really
or
feeling
not
down
on
yourself. So if someone tries to, when someone gives you a compliment, you're like, oh, blow it off or something, like, yeah, that's, I don't feel what you're saying. I think that's what's happened.
So then it's not real,
It's not real, right? Because you're giving me this, you look nice today, whatever, I feel like shit, so that's what I feel like I'm reflecting. Or, even somebody doing just a kindness for you, it can be hard to accept those when you're in that state of mind. And like, I think you said this before about once you relive those, they stay, you said they become part of your personality.
They do, yeah.
You keep repeating these behaviors and then they become who you are.
It stays
or at least
stuck,
who you are at that moment in time.
It's not like you can't change it, but if you're not aware of it, you can't change it.
Right.
So becoming aware of it allows you to switch it, right? To flip it on its head. Yeah. But that's where, when you stay in those places and you're not healing, what you get is that low self-worth, self-blame, low self-esteem, because being hurt does not make you feel powerful. Being hurt does not make you feel good about yourself. It doesn't make you feel like you're on top of the world. It does all the opposites of it. No matter who's to, air quotes, blame, whether it's you blame yourself or you blame the other person.
Right.
Living in that energy is a very low, low, low vibration.
Very
and you
low.
are not building, and you are not growing, and you are not claiming or reclaiming your power as an individual that's here to live a life with meaning and purpose. Yeah, I think the feeling not good enough.
And the other thing I think is like, you're less aware of what's happening in your life, and so opportunities that might could be presented to you, you miss things like that. You miss out on these good magical moments because you're like mired in this situation because you haven't let go of it yet.
Yeah. Well, and then this is where, I know we talked about emotional triggers before, but then we have these things that we think about ourselves. We start to assign ourselves personality traits like, oh, I'm not good at speaking up for myself. Oh, I'm not, and
I'm so stupid.
I'm so stupid.
That was something I said a lot when I first came here, and I didn't even realize it. But I guess deep inside, I felt stupid for all the shit that I had taken and all the time that I spent with this person and all the time that I felt like I wasted.
Yeah.
Precious years that I couldn't get back. Money that I'd never see again. And it was like those big losses. It was my decision to do those things. But then when I look back, I'm like, God, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to feel stupid after you've done something like that, and you're looking at yourself going like, why? It's like you said, like staying.
What is wrong with me?
What is wrong? It's like you said
I
earlier.
said that to myself. What is wrong with me?
What the fuck, Kat?
It's like, somebody's bad for you. Why the fuck can't I leave this person alone? Like, why? What is happening here?
What is happening? That sounds like another podcast, though.
I'm telling you. I know that I've met many women, especially when I was in the military, who had been fucked over. And so the way that they approached men was that they are out for themselves. Men do not deserve respect, or they do not deserve the truth. They do not deserve to be honored in any kind of way. Men are stupid. Men are conniving. They're
Talk about changing
deceitful.
Your personality.
I mean, this is how some of the girls that I hung out with
like a bitter.
acted. Yeah. But it's not just that. Then they wanted to, they're like, then I'm going to be a guy. I'm going to not care. I'm going to go out and have, I'm going to sleep with whoever I want and not tell anybody. And so they hated them for what they did, but then they started to become them as well.
Listen, I knew somebody. I had a friend. And I met her at a bar one night, and
no way, not a bar.
We hit it off. We were both two single women there, and it was a slow night. And so we started talking. And then what I came to discover about her was that she felt like that. She's like, I'm just going to be the man. I'm just going to act like a man. I'm going to go sleep with guys. I'll sleep with whoever I want to. I don't give a fuck. It was, like I want to fuck that guy over there, so I'm going home with him, and that it's just going to be a fuck. But what would happen with her? What I got as I got to know her more, and I would see her do these things after the fact, she had expectations after it, even though she was trying to be somebody that was like, I'm just going to do it for the sex, but then she would be hurt because they didn't call her. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
She said one thing, but it actually it affected her differently, because I think in her heart of hearts, that's not really what she wanted.
She wanted it to be different.
She wanted the connection, but she was trying to act like the connection didn't matter to her.
Yeah.
And it was
she was
hard.
Very torn,
it was really hard to watch that, and then not try to, because you can't really tell somebody that when they're going through it, even though she was my friend, and I just watched this thing happen with her, and I would feel bad for her because, it was like, it was not good.
So I've seen where women who have been fucked over then do not, number one, if you're not giving somebody respect, why would they stay with you? Why would they respect you? So, like, if you go into a relationship or a situation like that, a situationship, and you don't want to respect each other, nothing good's going to come of that, And maybe you'll never know that the guy is hurt, but you're also giving him the examples of why he should still treat women like shit. Like, nobody is winning here. You're not making it better for the next girl.
That's a good point.
Right? Like, you're treating him like shit. He's like, okay, yeah, women just want, like, they just don't give a shit, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've seen people who have felt like that, and when love does come their way and there is a good guy, they end up really fucking them over because they're like, I don't believe it. I don't believe that you're a good guy. Like, you're going to fuck me over. I've been hurt before. I know how this game goes. And they never give it a chance. So they're so damaged that they're out there emotionally damaging other people, keeping themselves in that trapped emotional damaged state. And then when something good comes along, they take this good guy and they just chew him up and spit him out kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like I've heard that in a movie before, but I've never liked the saying that good guys finish last. I've never liked that saying. I've seen it so many times happen. So I know that there's validity to it. I know that it does happen like that. And why girls are truly attracted to assholes, because so many of the guys that I've been friends with that are the good guys that finish last, I watch the girls go for assholes over and over and over again. I was like, I really have not figured out that part of the human connection yet and what it all means. But it's almost like the girls who go after assholes are broken, so they want to fix something else outside of themselves to feel better about themselves. It's like they need that point for the team.
Or maybe it's that it validates that each time they do this, it validates how they feel.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just, it's like, see, I knew it.
Yeah.
So they don't recognize.
They don't ever give the good guy a chance, because if things work out, then they'll be wrong. Also,
imagine if they get with a good guy and then they have to start working on themselves and they have to start dealing with the shit that, they've been hanging on to, because that's all going to come up. That doesn't go away until you start healing from it. So most of the things we've talked about are like, these are the reasons why we need to process through and why it's so essential for our healing to let go.
To not stay stuck.
Yeah.
Once you recognize it, do whatever you can every single day to work on little parts of yourself. And remember that you're not looking for anybody else to fill your cup. Like, you need to fill your cup. You need to give yourself that attention. You need to love and care for yourself. That is what you truly need. Because otherwise you're staying stuck in that situation where you're looking for external validation for somebody else to love you enough so you can love yourself.
And, if you're not sure, like, I feel like sometimes it's hard to say, I love myself. And
for you now?
Well, and I'm going to say at periods of my time,
sure.
It would be something that I would not really feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you're like that, if you're experiencing that or have experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. But if you can think of the loving yourself as taking care of yourself, like, what are the things you can do to take care of yourself?
Yeah. Even if you're not,
even if it's not like, I love myself, it's like, but I'm gonna sleep. I'm going to eat. I'm going to try to eat right. I'm going to get in nature. I'm going to do these self-care habits. I'm going to take long baths. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a little staycation or weekend away or something like that.
Yeah, reward yourself.
To care for your soul and your heart and
your mind.
And your mind.
That side of you that thinks way too much and you've got anxiety going. Finding ways to quiet that will make you feel like you're better. Like you're getting better, like you've calmed some part of yourself that was erratic and overreacting and waiting for the shoe to drop, the floor to drop.
That was my thing. I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah. I forget those things.
Yeah.
Is there one where there's like a floor to drop, like the floor comes out?
You're waiting for the floor to come out from under you.
Okay,
kind of like those spinning things. With the floor to drop. So and I mean, I think ultimately too, what it comes down to is at some point in time you got to start to change your beliefs to where you realize that, or accept that you wake up and choose to be have these thoughts, and you're choosing your So you're choosing to have the feelings because at some point you got to take responsibility, right, for what you're going through.
Yeah.
You take the self-care, but if you stay mired in it, then the thoughts is like realizing that you have a choice about it. Mm-hmm. Like one day you might wake up and go like, ah, and then the sky opens up and you're like, oh my God, I don't have to fucking feel like this anymore. Yeah. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
That has fucking happened to me, literally.
I think that there's that part of us that we can go through all the motions of life every day because there's these external expectations and we forget to have internal expectations of ourselves of, hey, guess what, girl? You don't got to wake up and feel like shit. You don't got to wake up and have all these regrets. You don't got to, you don't have to do and be all these things that are from your past. You can be totally brand new. And it's not unauthentic. It's a fucking transformation. That's it. You just decide one day, guess what? Today, starting right now, fuck all that shit back there. I am moving forward with a new perspective, a new mindset. I'm going to delete everybody on my Instagram and every social media, and I'm going to start following the people that talk about being happy and healthy, and there's no drama, there's no crazy videos where bums are fighting or whatever. I try to tell people that like whatever you're exposing yourself to is going to shift you and change you. Mm-hmm. Listen to the self-help books. Get into the documentaries about changing your mind. Get into, I'm not saying go buy $25,000 ticket to a guru show or anything like that. You don't need that kind of level, but deciding that what is going to influence you from this day going forward is something that actually heals you and not keeps you stuck and not just... It's either keeping you stuck or it's diverting your attention. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Distracting you.
Distracting you. Yeah.
I couldn't think of that word.
Distractions.
Fucking distractions.
Distraction is something that we use, or I
all the
see
time.
A lot of people use
for sure.
Distraction to not deal with their stuff that needs to be let go of. So
my husband and I have this game when we go out because he really loves going out, and for me, I have a lot more anxiety about it. Like, I don't know, I'm always worried somebody's going to do something to my food. I don't trust the cleanliness of places. Like, I'm just all around suspicious of food places, but it is something my husband truly loves to do. So I get into it with him. Now I have standards. We're not just going to any fucking hole in the wall. I can't deal with it. But when we go, we observe people. Like, we are both people watchers, which I love because we could talk. We don't talk shit or anything, but we're just like, we're very observant. Like, oh man, okay, what do you think's going on over there? Like, we'll give stories to people, and this is how we entertain ourselves. But the one thing we will not do is pull out our phones. And then one of the things we've noticed over, especially the last 5 years of going out, because we're, I don't know, we're eating at, air quotes, fancier places maybe. We used to always just do breweries and pub styles. Now we're going to like fancier places and whatever, wine drinking and stuff. But you'll look around when you walk into these dining rooms, and what we will observe as we're being walked to our table is this couple's on their phones. This couple's on their... Here's a family of 4. They're all on their phones. And there's no conversations. So whereas you used to walk into a room full of people eating, there'd be tons of conversations. It might be louder. And now it'll be quiet. And everybody will be looking at their phone and what's going on. So we have this thing that for us, that is a dying relationship. If people have to pull out their phone because they don't have anything that they could talk about, if there's not new stuff, unless you're showing people pictures, talking about a trip, trying to plan something, putting something in your calendar, checking in a beer on an app, because we definitely do that. What are we doing? These are distractions to pull you away from that you're uncomfortable sitting across from the person that you're with because you're like, what the fuck do we talk about? This is not in our notes. I'm way off topic, but it's, why did I think that? The self-care, being involved in relationships that are meaningful, having those meaningful conversations. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure it was in there somewhere, but I just thought of that. What was I thinking, Mom? Help me get back to where I was. I have no idea.
Well, I think what we were going to go to is like I was thinking of the types of things that you could do, that you do to actually, like, you're talking about being present.
Yes, look at you.
That is really what you're talking about, is being present.
Yeah.
And
deciding who you're going to be.
And finding, being here, being present, being in the now, finding some joy in a simple thing, going out to dinner with, your new guy or yourself or your girlfriends.
You said new guy. That is my husband. He's not new. Well, okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm thinking of somebody who's more, who's a little bit newer, not as far along in a relationship as you are, like 10 or 11 years, right?
10 or 11, somewhere in there. I know we've been married for 5.
So some things that we can do, like magical things we can do to...
I know, right? This is a witch podcast. So how are we really using magic or the spirituality or the practice of witchcraft to get into releasing the past, embracing the present, healing ourselves, recognition? You guys know we'll always mention journaling. It's such a great place to start, to write shit down and just think it out. Like, you don't gotta talk to anybody about it. You're having these thoughts inside your own head, write them down. You don't want anybody to see it, burn that shit. It's okay. You don't, there's no rule that says you have to keep the journals that you write or the pages that you write, but it can really help you get things out and then see what comes up. When I was young in my witchcraft practice, I tried automatic writing because what I wanted to do was be psychic and communicate with the dead. Like, that was a goal of mine. It became less of a goal when I thought, well, that would be pretty hard to have a regular life if you've got like things always happening. I was like, maybe I don't want that. I never
knew you wanted to do that.
Yes. I got into James Van Praagh. I was like, psychic medium. Absolutely. That's the level I'm headed to. Oh. And I really wanted to be able to like hear animals too, because that was a cool thing. There was a lady on a show. She was British, and animals that were alive could talk to her, and also past animals could talk to their owners and stuff. Wow. And I was like, that is the fucking coolest thing ever. I would love to give animals a voice. Anyways, this is when I'm 18, 19 years old. But automatic writing was when you just sit down, and sometimes you're just doing loops, and you're not thinking, you're just kind of like, you're just drawing loops, but the pen and the paper, they're going together, right? It's just do, loops. And then you'll have a thought, and so those loops start to form words, because I was always in cursive. So then words would come out and things would happen. And I can remember writing some things where I really shocked myself about what I really wanted for my life, which was, I thought I wanted for my life independence, no kids, move around, never have roots, never get tied down. But what came out in those squiggles was the word love, like so many times by accident. I was like, I don't want love. Love means getting married and tied down. And then I got to be responsible to other people. And then I'm going to be held to my own shit. Like, I don't want any of that. That sounds terrible. But when have I ever been my happiest? Yeah, when I'm in love, because I love having a partner. I love having that connection, where you're two people against the world.
I mean, we're meant to connect.
I tried to deny it.
Automatic writing, I love that. Yeah. There's some other things you can do. Of course, like you said, always talk about journaling, but the other thing we're always going to talk about is nature.
Oh gosh,
getting out in nature. I find the beach calming, and watching the sun go down at the beach. I was just there the other day and took some really gorgeous pictures as the sun was going down.
It was really beautiful. Oh my gosh. I saw them on Sister's phone.
And you can't help but get out of your own head and be present in that moment. Spaces
that make you feel present. Mm-hmm. What is it doing? I used to read for not being present, but to get out of my own head. I grew up, my mom gave me a lot of books, so I was reading a lot of adult stories when I was very young, probably 13, 14 years old. But it was a way for me to be home and still have an adventure through a book.
I love that.
Yeah. Doing puzzles for me is a way to get out of my own head, because I'm solving a problem, kind of. I'm solving this puzzle.
Yeah. Art and crafts,
and
too.
Anybody who's
got hobbies like knitting. I think your dad, when he was...
I can't believe my dad learned to knit. Yes, he did.
Yeah, so that was a way for him to pass time when he was...
Incarcerated,
yeah.
He painted a lot.
Too.
Yeah. So it's just making sure you can understand what is good for your person, your personality, to shift your energy. Because that's what we're truly talking about. We're shifting our energy from being stuck in our head, thinking about the past, bringing up the old shit, to being present.
The next step to that is like deciding to let it go.
Yep.
And to get past it.
I think what helped me the most, which nobody ever told me, was forgiving myself. I didn't realize that had such a grip on me that I felt, just starting to say it, I feel like I could cry. Because I feel it deep in my chest that I felt responsible for, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. Like, you walked into your situation, you're the reason you were there. I really felt that back then, that I was to blame. So forgiveness for myself. Be like, you didn't do that. Like, that's not your fault. And even if it was your fault, if you really truly think that, the things that happen here, if you're having a hard time forgiving yourself for anything that you regret, the reason that we're here is to go through hard shit, that it teaches us. So don't let it stop you from continuing on with your lessons. Like, that was my spiritual way to approach that. I'm still a soul in a body trying to have a human experience, and we need to accept that we are souls first and we are humans second, technically.
And, this is the time to, give yourself grace.
Yes.
And give yourself time to heal and cry when you feel like it. Mm-hmm. And with those tears, I feel like for me anyway, the tears was a release. It was a way of getting a way of getting it out. It's and if you are brave, start a journal through something really hard like that and keep it, and then put it away, and then come back
Reflect
to it later
on it.
because you'll see your progression from this really hurt, place, and how you moved through it. And I think it could be helpful for future situations where you might feel the same way. You could revisit, like, how did I get? That was such a terrible loss for me. Like, let's say it's a spouse or something, or your mother or father. It's such a terrible loss. And, the reflection that you can do after, if you've kept track of something like that or journaled about it, kept a specific journal for. I haven't had anybody really close to me die. I had 2 brothers. One died a long, long time ago when I was just 19. The other one was, 10 years ago now. But I hadn't been close to them, for a year. I wasn't around them all the time, so while it was a loss, I haven't had that. So that's going to be a thing for me if I go through that.
Well, you lost your dad, what, last year or the year before?
2 years ago now.
Wow,
I think it's coming up on
fast.
3 years.
Yeah. And
2020,
you also
right?
weren't close to him.
Wasn't close to him.
Do you still feel like there was unfinished business there? Was there things that you wish could have been resolved in your lifetime?
Well, there's definitely regrets about how the whole thing
played
and the
out.
unfairness of it.
Unfairness,
there was that to deal with after. In fact, didn't I do like a spell or something to let go and do
ritual,
forgiveness?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't we do that here not long ago?
Yeah.
As part of a witch school, I think we were doing. Yeah, I did something to forgive him because there was a picture that I came across that my brother gave me that I'd never seen before of me and him when I was probably 3, and it triggered me. It triggered a lot of emotions, and I had to do a ritual to forgiveness to let it go.
Yeah, processing.
So you talk about forgiving yourself, but there's also forgiving other people
for sure,
so that you can move past that too.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting and different between our 2 things is, like, I had somebody actually hurt me, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to forgive him. But what I do is I give him grace to be like, you're on your own story and your own journey, and you're going to have to live with that later. And my belief is that when we cross over, it's not that we get a life review of us seeing our life. We get a life review of how we treated everybody else around us. We get to feel all of those things.
How we made people feel.
I remember
you telling me that, and that really struck me. I thought, oh my God.
Right. Yeah. That is what your review is going to feel and be like.
That's pretty heavy when I think about,
some
of the things that I've done. When you think about being on the receiving end of maybe some of the things you've done or said to people, it's like, fuck.
It helps me think about, I think the way that I think about this, it helps me stay true to myself, because when you want to get into that revenge mode, right? Like I've been harmed many times, and I know ways that I could hurt people professionally if I wanted to, even whistleblowing types and writing statements and going to the public and getting on the news channels. No fucking joke. Like, I threatened them with that. And thinking about it now, it's like, did I need to do all of that? Would I have needed to do it? How would I have felt about it? I don't know. I fucking let it go. I just really wanted to get past it. But feeling the way that I do now, that I'm going to get to experience everything that I did to everybody else, or did around them, said to them, made them feel, whatever kindnesses I gave them, whatever anger. So there's, I'm glad that people that I've cursed out inside my car on the road, they didn't feel that, right? So I shouldn't have that in my life reflection. I don't know. They'll be like, and we're just going to focus on this one area over here where you just always, like, for 10 years. curse people out. Even though they couldn't hear you, look at this energy you were putting out there. I don't know. Maybe there'll be like a special section for me on that alone. You have some anger issues. We're going to need to work on that in your next life. But for everybody else, I treat them with the utmost kindness. And when I can't, I walk away from the relationships. I have to get out because I don't want to alter myself in order to make them submit to what I need from them. You know, it's better for me to just walk away. I think one of the last points is like what happens in the present that doesn't happen in the past. Magic. You can't make magic in the past. It's already gone. It's already done. It's back there. But you can make magic in the present. Yeah. You can do things right now, today, that brings magic and joy into your life. You cannot deliver that to the past. You just can't. So that's another reason to stay present and be here today, in today's world, in what you're doing right now, instead of trying to solve the problem from 5 years ago, fix the thing, undo the pain, get back at somebody, because that is not creating...
Answer the why questions.
Yeah, it's not creating anything.
Yeah.
It's actually drawing your energy to the past rather than helping you create a beautiful, magical future, which is... Don't we all want that? Isn't that why I think we come
do.
to witchcraft?
And I think in closing, you know, the way we can leave this is to say that you remember that letting go is not a destination.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It is. Because you have like the ebb and flow.
If you, you know, practicing self-compassion and patience along the way and being gentle with yourself is one way for you to have a smoother journey.
Yeah.
You know, to ease the road that you're gonna travel on.
The healing journey.
The healing journey. Yeah.
Yes. Be gentle with yourself, dear witches.
Be gentle with yourself.
Nobody else is going to be as gentle with you as you would be. So make sure you give that to yourself. Be your own warm blanket, your own hot cup of tea, your own magical candle. Like, do that for yourself. Give yourself that. That's what we need, is to remember that that's what we are. That's where true power comes in, is when we know we can give these things to ourselves and we're not waiting for a white knight or somebody else to come and fix the things.
Yep. All right.
All right, witches. We love you so much. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and we will see you on the next one.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.